Hey guys, in this video I'm going to go ahead and review for the Friday check-in and give you some free answers. Okay, so let's say you open up your Friday quiz and it looks sort of something like this for number one. Maybe it even looks exactly like this. It'll look exactly like this. Here's how you might want to get started. So we have a two-step equation that also has a fraction, but here's how you want to start. You want to start by getting rid of any number that is not attached to the x. So this 3 right here, that's attached to the x. Let's save that for later. This 19, on the other hand, is single and ready to mingle. So let's go ahead and get rid of that 19. We're going to go ahead and try to mix it together with another number that would make it a 0. So we have a positive 19. We can make it a 0 if we just take away 19, right? Subtract 19. Okay, if we do that, that's 0, and I'm left with x over 3 equals 6. Okay, now we have to deal with this ugly fraction. How do we cancel out a fraction? Here's how you do that. Think of a fraction in a different way. So we have x over 3, which is the same thing as x divided by 3. Now I know how to do the inverse operation to get rid of that 3. Opposite of dividing by 3 is multiplying by 3. Easy. Perfect. All right, so now those two numbers cancel out. I'm left with x equals 18. If you feel like it'll help you out, I can explain why these two numbers cancel each other out. If you feel like that's not going to be helpful, it's just going to confuse you, you can either plug your ears or just skip ahead in the video. So we have, we'll just put a little arrow, x over 3, and we said, hey, if we multiply by 3, they'll cancel out. When we multiply fractions, we just multiply across the top number and the bottom number. But this doesn't have a bottom number, it's a whole number. Here's how you can make a whole number a fraction. Remember, just put that invisible 1 underneath the whole number. Now we have a bottom number, we can multiply them across. So the top two numbers multiplied across would just be 3x. Bottom two numbers multiplied across would just be 3. So now we are going to reduce this fraction. We can't divide them by 2, but we can divide both sides by 3. And if we did that, we would have 1x over 1, which really is just x. So that's why they cancel out. Okay, well now we're going to look at those pesky little create an equation from a word problem question that may or may not look exactly like this on your Friday quiz. It looks exactly like this. Alicia sells handmade scarves on Etsy. She makes $7.50 per scarf she sells. In order to advertise her scarves, Alicia pays a one-time fee of $25. Write an equation that represents the total amount of money Alicia makes selling scarves after advertising them. Okay, so we are trying to figure out the total amount of money she's making. So I know that I'm going to have an equation where the total is on one side and then everything else is on the other side. Everything's going to be adding towards that total or contributing towards that total. Okay, now I need to find the variable. The variable is going to be around anything like every or per. So she makes handmade scarves. She makes $7.50 per scarf. All right. So that's our variable, the scarf. I'm just going to shorten that up just to S. I'll put it right there. The coefficient would be the thing attached to the variable, and in this case, it's the price, $7.50. So if she sold 10 scarves, I would take 10 times 750 to figure out how much she made. If she sold 15 scarves, I would take 15 times 750 to figure out how much she made. So that tells me I'm probably going to have like this 750 multiplied by the number of scarves, or S, somewhere in my equation. All right, now we need to look for a total. And that's what we're trying to figure out. We already have that kind of outlined in our equation. So there's not going to be a total that we're going to write down or like a number we're going to write down, and that's okay. Last step we have to do is look for a coefficient, or the constant. The constant is going to be a number that's either adding or taking away from the total. All right. In order to advertise her scarves, Alicia pays a one-time fee of $25. So anytime you see like one-time payment or one-time fee, that's a pretty good indicator that that's the constant. Now we need to figure out if this $25 is going to be adding to the total or taking away the total. So she makes money by selling these scarves, but then she has to pay to advertise. So because she's paying, like she's going to be giving that money to the website or the advertiser, that tells me that we're going to be taking away that $25. All right. Let's see if there's any other information in our word problem that we need to take care of, and there's not, so this would be your answer. Okay, we're going to do the same thing for this last one, which may be on your Friday quiz. It's on your Friday quiz, the very last one. Trent is reading a book for his English class that has a total of 250 pages. He can read 30 pages per hour. Write an equation that represents the total amount of hours it will take for Trent to finish the book. Okay, so we're looking for total hours. All right, so that tells me that we're going to have something over here in our equation that will help us calculate the total hours. We don't know the total hours, and that's okay. That's what we're writing an equation to figure out. All right, now we need to look for our variable. Trent is reading a book for his English class that has a total of 250 pages. He can read 30 pages per hour. All right, so our variable is hour. I'm just going to shorten that up to an h. Our coefficient is the thing attached to the variable, and in this case, it's 30 pages. So if he were to read for 2 hours, I would take 2 times 30. If he were to read for 5 hours, I would take 5 times 30. So that tells me somewhere in my equation I'm going to have 30 times h. All right, now we just need to look for the total to see if there's a total that we can add to our equation or a constant that we can add to our equation. Trent is reading a book for his English class that has a total, oh, it tells me right there, of 250 pages. So I can go ahead and get rid of this total over here and write 250 pages. So if we walk through our equation to make sure it makes sense, we're trying to figure out the number of hours he needs to read in order to read all 250 pages. And that would be your answer.